This is the Wii U, a console Nintendo released 14 years ago, the sequel to the Wii and the predecessor to the Switch. This is one of the best consoles for you to own in 2026, despite the rough history that it does have. After the huge success that Nintendo had in the 2000s, as we approached the end of the decade, Nintendo were on a real high for their company. The Wii was pretty much in every person's living room, school, and to be honest, pretty much any community space that you went to. A lot of people hold the console quite close to the heart and have many fond memories. However, a few years later, with the launch of the Wii U, Nintendo would be in a very different situation with a failed launch and continued failings which would follow after launching the Wii U. In late 2012, people around the world would be able to get their hands on Nintendo's brand new console called the Wii U, which already the name itself did not help the console. In the past few years, we've seen various studies and videos highlighting the overall failings of Nintendo themselves when marketing this console, and overall the failings of the Wii U probably created the perfect circumstances for the Switch to flourish, but all of that isn't why you clicked on this video. The Wii U offers a huge library of pretty excellent games. A lot of these titles have been ported over to the Switch with various remakes, remasters and graphical improvements, but the base games all come from the Wii U. This shows there certainly wasn't a shortage of creative genius for this console, with some fan favourites from the Switch being originally released on the Wii U. In fact, the big launch title, Zelda Breath of the Wild, is from the Wii U too. In 2026, the Wii U goes for around £40 to £50 without cables and £70 to £80 if you want the complete package, making this such a cheap way to be able to play these games, especially if you have the knowledge on how to mod the console. By doing this, you will also add a huge amount of games to your library too, with the ability to play GameCube, DS and Virtual Console games. The console itself already offers backwards compatibility to the Wii, so even without modding you can still play both Wii and Wii U games on one console in HD, as this was added when the Wii U was released. The console offers 720p or 1080 on the TV, with most games running at 30 FPS, but some do have the ability to run 60. Although to be honest, if you're interested in these titles, you probably are looking for some classic Nintendo fun and not the highest spec game experience. With some games yet to be ported over to the Switch, such as Twilight Princess, this offers a nice way to play these games in HD, albeit you'll probably want to mod the console to get this game, as Zelda Twilight Princess can go for some pretty hefty sums, in fact, sometimes even more than the console itself. The console has some extremely fun Nintendo games, especially with your family. It was one of the things which made the Wii so popular to begin with, and had the Wii U been marketed better, this likely would have continued. A personal favourite is Nintendo Land, which really highlights the benefits of the gamepad and TV gameplay, a game which I have so many fond memories of and I'd love to see on the Switch one day. I have high doubts that we will see this, especially as one or two of the games require the pad. The gamepad itself was really ahead of its time. We all know handheld gaming has hit an all-time peak in 2026, with so many options being available. It really is where current trends are, but Nintendo were doing this way back in 2012, with the pad offering similarities to the bottom of your screen as the DS and 3DS, or the option to be your primary playing device. So your family could be using the TV, but you could have the console on at the same time and be enjoying your favourite Nintendo games without interrupting the TV at all. This entire idea really did set the foundations for the Switch, and it's a formula which has since been very successful with the hardware of the Switch too. Sadly, the LCD screen on the pad only offers 480p and isn't a very bright screen by any means, and nowadays you'll probably notice a difference in the quality, but if we are purely talking about a console which is cheap to buy in 2026 and gives you a full library of titles from the Switch, Wii, DS, GameCube, etc., then this is a steal, and well worth looking into if you can get past the specs. A storage increase may be worth looking into, as the Wii U never boasted the biggest storage, but these are very minor investments with the evolution of tech since the release of the Wii U. One thing I would say regarding the gamepad is I still think it's one of the most comfortable controllers Nintendo have ever released. It fits perfectly in your hands like it belongs there, which I cannot say the same about a lot of Nintendo products. The menu of the Wii U is also worth a mention, especially with people's criticism of the current Switch menu. The Wii U menu feels alive, taking the classic Wii menu and bringing it into HD with a more slick design, and the soundtrack which plays in the background is extremely comforting and wholesome. One of my favourite screens is the WaraWaraPlaza, which naturally sits on your TV screen but can be switched to the pad too. Here you really get a sense of community with your me sitting in the centre, but you also see what other people have said about games you have played, seeing their me's around the plaza too. When you go back to the Wii U menu, it's rather strange just how welcoming it is and how much of a community feel you get, especially when you're used to the Switch menus from the past 9 years. Sadly for the Wii U, I feel it really got the rough end of the stick. Within 1 year of release, Microsoft and Sony launched the Xbox One and the PS4, which blew it out the park in terms of specs. This mixed with a disaster of her first year in sales for the console and very poor marketing meant the console entered the perfect storm for failure, and this would continue over the Wii U's entire life. I think Nintendo themselves needed this humbling experience, and the failings that they learned gave birth for the Switch, which just like the Wii is a console many people love and continue to love with the Switch 2, only enhancing the handheld gaming experience, no matter how much people think it's cool to hate on the console for no good reason. With a different name and a different marketing strategy, I believe the Wii U could have had a very different outcome, and whilst I don't think it would have drastically made it a super success, I think we could have seen a lot more than the 10 million units sold. In 2026, I personally believe for the price it's one of the best consoles for you to own if you simply just love games and don't care about the best specs, as the console has so much to offer, especially when you mod it. Thank you for listening today. Have a great weekend. Take care, and I'll see you in my next video.
Stores now for just $299.99. Just look for the U on the box.